It starts with three names: Daniel Reyes, Mara Tills, Harlan Briggs. Three people, three different states, three different decades, and yet all of them were accused of crimes that never made sense. Crimes that were supposed to be open and shut. Crimes investigators swore were solved. Until now, because buried under dust, politics, and forgotten court archives is a thread, thin, fragile, but undeniable, that links their stories into one of the most disturbing wrongful conviction patterns ever shown on national TV. The first crack began in El Paso, Texas, 1998. A janitor finds 19-year-old student Rachel Mendoza collapsed behind a college library. Bruised, not breathing. Students scream. Police swarm the campus. And Daniel, a quiet 22-year-old with autism traits, happens to be the one who called 911. Within hours, detectives turned the narrative. He was nervous, too nervous. He kept repeating details. He must have memorized them. A confession emerges, 42 pages long. Except Daniel reads a second-grade level in the confession, uses words he didn't even know existed. Rachel's best friend begged detectives to reopen the file. A campus security camera caught another man following Rachel. But the tape malfunctioned. The man was never identified. El Paso moved on. Jumped to Kansas City, 2007. A fire tears through a small duplex at 3:14 a.m. Inside, two children, ages 4 and 6, don't escape. The mother, Mara, tries to run back in, burning her arms so badly she cannot lift her hands for weeks. But reporters don't show that. Detectives don't mention it. What America sees is the part where Mara collapses on her lawn, screaming so loudly neighbors recall hearing the sound for days. Fire investigators claim an accelerant was found. Arson, case closed, mother charged. What they never revealed. The lead fire investigator was under federal review for falsifying reports. A neighbor witnessed a man leaving the duplex minutes before it ignited. Mara's ex-boyfriend, issued a restraining order 2 weeks earlier, was never questioned. Because the department needed to restore trust after a public scandal, the conviction would calm the city. Mara became the answer. She got life without parole. The final piece is the one no one dared touch. Birmingham, Alabama, 2014. Army veteran Harlan Briggs, suffering from PTSD, is accused of murdering a retired pastor. Harlan had been found 3 blocks away, dazed, confused, disoriented. His prescription mixed wrong after a VA issue. Detectives see violent outburst. Not medical emergency. A bloody jacket found in his closet becomes a star piece of evidence. Except the crime lab flagged it as contaminated. Except the size didn't match Harlan's. Except 2 witnesses saw a different man leaving the pastor's home that night. A young man with a neck tattoo. That description was buried in an internal memo. Never released, never shown defense. Harlan was sentenced to 40 years. The city applauded the swift justice. 3 unrelated cases. Different states, different years. No connection. Until a new intern at a non-profit wrongful conviction unit notices something chilling. Each of the original lead detectives, across all 3 cities, trained under the same federal task force program, a now-defunct initiative later investigated for evidence mismanagement and forced confessions. Each of the 3 real suspects, Rachel Stalker, Mara's ex, the tattooed man, appeared again in other cases tied to the same task force trainees. A pattern emerges. Black small square evidence withheld black small square witnesses, ignored black small square alternative suspects, dismissed black small square. Confessions extracted from vulnerable people. Not once, not twice, but dozens of times. It wasn't one bad detective. IT was a pipeline out of culture to a system that rewarded quick closures and measured promotions by conviction rates. Daniel, Mara, Harlan, they weren't anomalies. They were statistics. Human sacrifices to a broken system. The intern digs deep into old case logs tied to the training program. Buried in the fine print is a name. Officer Clay Maddox. A training instructor, a mentor in all 3 jurisdictions, a man who preached efficiency over evidence. A man who pushed detectives to frame narratives rather than investigate them. And the biggest twist? Officer Maddox was linked to a private consulting firm that profited every time a major case was closed fast. Wrongful convictions weren't accidents. They were metrics, achievements, stepping stones. The more wins, the better the contracts. When the team presented findings, federal officials panicked. Maddox disappears from public life. Records vanish. Departments go silent. But the pattern is now undeniable. Daniel, Mara, Harlan point three stories woven together by a truth that feels too disturbing to be real. For years, the justice system didn't fail by accident. It failed on purpose. The documentary ends with three empty chairs in a dim courtroom. One for Daniel, still behind bars, point one for Mara, fighting from a prison library, point one for Harlan, aging in a cell he never deserved. And the final line, not spoken but felt, if the system can bury three innocent lives this easily, how many more stories never made it to the light